Last Wednesday, Pope Francis received in audience the Italo-American film director Martin Scorsese. Martin Scorsese's new film, Silence, taken from the novel by Shusaku Endo, which was written in 1966 and set in 1633, at the height of anti-Christian persecution in Japan. It took 27 years to produce this film, as Martin Scorsese himself tells us.
How could faith not be an obsession if you're alive and you exist? I felt that. I grew up in a very rough area, very tough. My parents weren't necessarily religious. They were from my Sicilian grandparents, who were peasants who came to New York, uneducated. And their main object in life was to provide for the family. And so when I was introduced to faith, really on another level, it was at the church in the Lower East Side, St. Patrick's Old Cathedral, the very first Catholic cathedral in New York. And so I found there this talk of compassion and love and responsibility and obligation. From that, I was always obsessed with themes of love, compassion, faith, and the faith that would carry you through these trials in life. Because I took it very seriously, quite honestly.
For a reason, I'm a believer myself. I think for a reason we came together at this particular moment. Marty did this project because I think contemporary-wise, there's a great need for a thought-provoking process about faith and the liberty of religion, religious liberty, nowadays more than ever, perhaps.
A faith put to the test by the violence inflicted on the Jesuits, but also by the silence of God, a theme that runs throughout the film, especially in the role of Father Rodriguez, performed by Andrew Garfield. To prepare for the role, the actor participated in the Ignatian spiritual exercises.
There's a wonderful line. He says, "I know you told me, I will not abandon you. I will not abandon you. I will not abandon you." And sure enough, he doesn't. Rodriguez does at one point doubt so much that he says, "You're not answering me, you're not going to answer." And he starts laughing like a maniac. He loses it. But ultimately, he learns that God is in the silence. There is no real silence. Silence has a sound. So, I don't know, it's in the existence, the space between us right now. And I think that's the exploration for the silence of God. How should I put it? We don't think of our daily existence, the miracle of being alive. We don't think about it every minute. But if we do, it's incomprehensible that we're in this world. And so that is partially beginning to understand that God is not silent. In silence, as a singular one, in terms of Rodriguez's his pilgrimage, his Calvary, so to speak, and the grace that he receives, as one who finally understands. He understands Christ. He understands the love of Christ, and they can't take that away from him. They can't. Everything else is stripped away. But that.
Meeting Martin Scorsese and his family in audience, Pope Francis said he had read the book, Silence. The director then gave the Pope the copy of an image of Our Lady of the Snows, whom the Japanese used to venerate in secrecy.
I was completely taken aback by his familiarity and grace, and how he handled this meeting, which felt very informal yet was very structured. I was very touched because he blessed my family and the others with us, particularly placing his hand on my wife's forehead. She was very moved. My daughters were. And he did say that he hopes that the project bears fruit in the world. And I looked at him and I said, with your inspiration, the Holy Father. And he said, pray for me.